Hey, this is Dan Searle from Architects, and you're on Blunt US.
How about this one for a fun one? I have Dan Searle of Architects right here on Blunt. Dan, how are you?
I'm well, man. No complaints. How are you?
Oh, very well. The sky, the earth, and all between. You've called it the Architects record. What do you think makes it like one that stands out most to you?
Well, it just came at a moment in our story, if you like, where it felt like it was the right time to bring together lots of the elements of the band that we had sort of visited or experimented with over the years. It was about sort of wrapping up everything that this band is in 2025 into sort of a neat package, I guess. That was the aim at least, and I think it's brought together a lot of our sort of previously slightly fractured fan base, and now there's sort of somewhere for at least the majority of our fan base to sort of to live with this record. So yeah, it was just that moment in our career, and we'll probably on the next record we'll probably spread our wings a bit again and try and break new ground, which is I guess kind of what we've always done, because it doesn't feel interesting to keep trying the same ideas over and over again, because you end up just with diluted versions of what you've already done. I feel like the first time you
Yeah.
try something, or you kind of you get the best out of it, the best juice out of it, and then you have to try and go somewhere else. I'm thinking of There Will Be Blood, when he's trying to find the oil, and he's like, you find the new land with the springing oil through the ground, and that's where the sort of, I don't want to say gold rush is, but that's where all that sort of creative potential is. So Sky, the Earth, and All Between was like, we had a very, very fixed vision and idea of what we wanted to achieve, and we got it. We definitely got what we set out to do. So I'm glad that it's resonating with our audience, and the band continues to be able to grow in popularity after 11 albums.
Yeah, that is crazy. 11 albums deep. And you weren't on production this time round, were you? Switch that to Jordan Fish.
Yeah,
How did that feel handing the reins over?
I mean, difficult in some senses, but mostly
Yeah.
amazing. There's a lot of work that goes into that role, and having done that for the last few albums, I definitely felt relieved, in the sense that I was able to focus my energy elsewhere. I wouldn't say I put in less work on this album because of Jordan's presence. I just reallocated my focus into other areas. So yeah, it was cool to be able to divert my attention elsewhere, and I do enjoy the production side of things, but it was just nice to shake things up and do things differently. I think it's important to do that every so often. You see artists all the time bring in other collaborators or other producers, and it just helps shake out new ideas and new perspectives and keeps things fresh. And I think ultimately that's been the key to our band being able to continue to grow, is that we have constantly shaken up the dynamic. Sometimes we've been forced to by losing my brother. Sometimes we've had, we had Josh, and then Josh left, and then Jordan's come in. So we've always changed things up, and sometimes that's been difficult, but it always sort of makes us evolve. And I think it isn't a hard and fast rule. Bands release the same album twice, and the second album does great, but for me, I feel really disinterested if a band releases the same record twice. And some people really want that. It's just not for me. I like, what really gets me interested in a record is if I can instantly hear that evolution, and I can see that they're shaking things up and going into new places. So that'll always be a really important part of what we do. And I think that attitude has served us really well.
Yeah, architects, like they just, like you're saying, like 11 albums deep now. It's like forever evolving. And I was going to ask, does it feel like the more time that's past you and behind you now, has that helped the songwriting process, or is it becoming harder, or is it easier?
It just goes in phases. Sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's easy. Look, I've only really been this heavily involved in writing the song since since Tom died. So, that was 2016. So 9 years is a decent amount of time, I suppose, come to think
Yeah.
of it. But I feel like I've made 4 albums, not 11, I just played the drums before. So, and a lot of people hate that I'm involved in the songwriting and they think that I've ruined the band. But
No.
it still feels all fresh and exciting to me in many ways, and I still feel like super inspired, and I'm always ready to get my teeth into the next record, into the next project. And there's no lack of like enthusiasm or excitement for me. Like, I don't feel jaded by the experience of making albums. We're making our next album, it feels like we're making our second, to me, for whatever reason. So yeah, I feel like I I'm a bit older and a bit wiser, and I've learned a lot, but I'm still learning. So and that goes for everyone in the band, So no, we're in a good place in that sense, And there's no sign of us sort of letting up, I don't think. So I remember when we were doing our fourth album 15 years ago, and we'd toured the world a few times, and we didn't really have many fans. We certainly weren't making any money. And I said to my brother, look, like, it kind of feels like now or never, we're 23 or 22 or something. And, we're seeing our peers like just smash it at the time. In the UK, had played shows, just like local shows at the very early stages of the band. We had played shows with Bring Me and Ed Shikari and Gallows, and all of them
Yeah.
had really blown up or signed to major labels and had gold records. And it felt at the time like, like, what bands blow up on their fifth or their sixth album? Like, surely the fourth album is like, that's the last go. And so we made the Here and Now, and nobody really liked it. And it didn't go well. And then we were faced with touring that for a couple of years. So now, looking back, I just realized that, every band's journey is different, and some bands blow up on their first record, some bands blow up on their eighth record. And like, comparing what other bands have done with what your band has done is like irrelevant, and it's kind of never too late. Our ninth album went to #1 in Australia and here in the UK. Our 11th album, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between, outsold that album. So you're just as going to be as popular as your last record. It doesn't really matter if you've made 5 albums that no one particularly latched onto. You can still break through and have a career, which I think is important for other artists to know. I think that maybe feel a bit deflated because we failed for a long time before we succeeded.
I think that's a very humble and well-spoken thing that you said there, Dan. And my introduction to you guys was actually in 2018 through Holy
Holy hell, yeah.
Holy hell, yeah. Sorry, I've just lost it because I was about to talk about my friend. He passed away, and that album was very like it helps heal sort of thing. And like knowing that you guys have gone on for so long before then, went back and listened to the old record, so you can discover new music at any stage.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of pressure for people to make money, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I feel like it's harder than ever to live, and so we had to sacrifice a lot, including our dignity, to continue, well into our late 20s, living off of no money. But it just doing anything else never seemed like an option. And obviously now, with the benefit of hindsight, having, I guess you would say, succeeded, it feels it feels very worthwhile, that we made that sacrifice for that period of time.
Yeah, and just getting started, really. Like, you guys toured with Metallica as well. That's no small thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I love about the story of our band, is that we've done everything from pubs to stadiums. It wasn't like we sort of toured pubs and then quickly went to stadiums. We toured pubs for years, and then we toured clubs for years, and then we toured, bigger clubs for years, and then, so it's been a very gradual process for us. And so when we roll up to stadiums with Metallica, we just did these stadium shows in Germany with Linkin Park. The joy of that isn't lost on us, and if anything, with age, it just feels like there's more appreciation, and we take more time to try and take in the moment and like comprehend like what our lives are, and what we're doing. So we feel super lucky for those opportunities, and like rubbing shoulders with James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich and co doesn't it's not lost on us.
Oh, 100%. Life outside of music for you, like you're a dad. What else do you get up to in your downtime?
I spend time with my kids, play drums, and go to the gym. That's
There
my
you go.
and take the bins out. It's
Take the bin.
pretty.
That reminds me, I have to do that tonight. Thank you.
Did it yesterday. Yeah, and like obviously there's still I'm writing music all the time. So yeah, that's my focus. I just when I'm home, I just look at my responsibilities with the band as like it's a job. So I gotta keep playing drums and improving. I gotta write some music and stay healthy, and make time for my family and look after my kids and spend time with my wife. So yeah, I just try and
Yeah.
tickle the essentials.
Oh, I love that right there. Well, you can catch Architects across North America. The tour happening right now. Grab your tickets through architectsofficial.com. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.